High school biology lied to you. You see, whenever you were in high school biology and you were specifically starting to learn genetics, your teacher probably taught you about this thing, the good old Punnett square. Where you combined the alleles from a gene in your mom and compared them to the alleles from the same gene in your dad, and got the likelihood of what traits their offspring would have based off of that. And when you were learning about the Punnett square, you were probably taught the same way that I was, in which your teacher used eye color in order to explain how the Punnett square worked. However, at some point whenever you were learning this, you probably looked at this and then thought about how many eye colors there actually are in the world and thought, maybe this is missing something. Well, that's because it was, as this is a wholly inaccurate representation of how your eye color is determined. Mainly because your eye color is not only determined by one gene, because your eye color is considered to be a characteristic that you have that is polygenic, meaning it doesn't only take one gene. In fact, it utilizes a ton of different genes in order to get the eye color you have. For instance, we have genes like OCA2 and HERC2, which work together in order to determine how much melanin is in your iris. And there are many more genes where that came from, as even though OCA2 and HERC2 are the two primary genes that determine your eye color, there are a ton of other genes like ASIP and TYRP1 that also influence your eye color. So now that we know that this is an inaccurate representation of how to use a Punnett square, you're probably wondering, how do I practice using a Punnett square in a more accurate way? Well, I would recommend using the method that Gregor Mendel himself used. Gregor Mendel being the guy who invented the Punnett square, as well as something called Mendelian genetics. As whenever he was discovering Mendelian genetics, he utilized nothing other than the pea plant. And the reason that Gregor Mendel's method of using the pea plant for the Punnett square even worked is because each of these traits is determined by their own singular individual gene, meaning none of them are polygenic. So in the case of the pea plant, this Punnett square worked really well. And that utilization of pea plant characteristics in order to teach the Punnett square would also work very well in high school biology courses to come.